This is Iznik, a town in northwestern Turkey. It's a small city or a big town now, but in ancient times it was quite a significant city. Emperor Constantine, when he moved his capital from Rome to the east, he he established this city as the capital of the of the eastern part of the Roman Empire. This city played an important role in the development of early Christianity because emperor had become Christian. He hosted the first council of Nicaea, in which the Arius heresies and various other things, which eventually shaped the Christian religion and Christian faith, were discussed in this council. He hosted this council in his palace. Now we can't see his palace. Ruins of his palace are under the water of Iznik Lake. But this city, as I was saying, was very important and will remain important as far as the history of the church is concerned. Whenever people talk about Nicaea, this is the city which at some point was known as Nicaea, and now it is known as Iznik. Now I'm going to take you to another part of the city, which was also important for many reasons, because there is a mosque called Hagia Sophia Sagira, which means Hagia Sophia Little. Why it is called Hagia Sophia Little? Because in Constantinople or in Istanbul there is a big church called Hagia Sophia. That's the biggest church probably for first 1000 years in the Christian history. That was the largest Christian building in the world. But this Hagia Sophia was made by the same emperor who made Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, Emperor Justinian. But this church was important in many ways because this was in Nicaea, where the first council of Nicaea happened. The seventh ecumenical council also happened in this church building, and that council happened to deal with the iconoclasm in the church, and especially those declarations and verdicts which banned the use of icons in the church buildings. After the conquest of Constantinople, or the fall of Roman Eastern Empire, when Ottomans they took over in the whole area in the 14th century, they turned various churches, including the big Hagia Sophia in Constantinople and this church Hagia Sophia Little in Nicaea and in various other places, into mosques. So all these Christian worship, or most of the churches, were turned into mosques. Of course, there were political reasons behind. There was a time when you really want to destroy or totally make your opponents powerless, especially to whom you have defeated in wars. That was one of the ways. But when you go to these places, you really feel bad. Why this happened? For instance, this cross probably was scratched on the wall by young Christians. Maybe we don't know when it happened, but of course, just a sort of a message that this place belonged to and belongs to Christians. Now this place is a mosque. You can see Islamic insignias, name of Allah and the Prophet of Islam. Muslims come and they say prayer. But the mosque is also a museum. People can come because it has a historical significance. As I said, it hosted the Second Council of Nicaea or the Seventh Ecumenical Council. This building was important. The city was important. That's why people from all faith backgrounds and none, they can come and see. But Muslims are allowed to, and because this is a mosque. Ataturk, when he brought changes and he became the founder of the modern Turkey, he changed the status of this mosque from a mosque to a museum. So this mosque and these mosques, all other mosques, they were used as museums, not as mosques. But very recently, in 2022, the present government, they again changed the status of this mosque from museum to mosque. Not only this church, but also Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. So all these things happened because sometimes there are political reasons. I'm not going into this debate, and I don't want to discuss this at length. But I just want to. People, especially Christians from all over the world, they come, and of course, the pilgrims will keep on coming. To come and to see these places where significant things happened centuries ago. As part of our pilgrimage to Turkey this year, I especially wanted to come to Nicaea because 1700 years ago, in 325 AD, bishops and leaders from all over the world, they came to this country, they came to this city, invited by Emperor Constantine I. Though that time this mosque was not there, but of course they came to the city, and the great things happened. And in the result of that meeting, the Christian leaders, they agreed to the divinity of Jesus Christ, and also they defended their faith, Christian faith, from the Arius' heresy. Another thing which I would like to add, this church and many other churches in Turkey, they were made before Islam actually. So this church building is basically undisputed. When I say undisputed, I mean you can't say that there was a mosque before this church was made, or this church was established on the site of a mosque, because there was no Islam wasn't there that time, and there was no mosque in Turkey when this church was built. So changing the status of this church only give a message that Muslims or maybe Ottomans they only wanted to depress Christians to that extent that they are not able to stand in front of them, or they are not able to revert the change they have brought in the country. Despite these sorts of unhealthy patches on the fabric of the cultural and historical context of Turkey, there are a lot of good things that people celebrate. People like Rumi, who contribute a lot and also learn from this context. Byzantinians, architecture, music, and so many other things which the world has learned. And this part of the world gave a lot to the world in terms of music, culture, history, tourism, so on. I would like to briefly discuss finally Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, a beautiful church, a magnificent church building, which was probably the biggest church building for the first 1,000 years in the Christian history. Now it's a mosque. You can see Islamic insignias again, and the name of Prophet of Islam and Allah. This part of the mosque is open for Muslim prayers, but the upper part, the gallery, is only open for visitors. Any person, doesn't matter what their religion is, if they want to go to the museum, they can only see the frescoes and icons. Of course, they will have a close look, but only Muslims are allowed to go into the mosque for prayer purposes. We know empires come and go, things get changed within the passage of time. In the 4th century, when Romans, they made Constantinople the capital of the eastern part of the Roman Empire. Justinian built this huge, beautiful, magnificent building, Hagia Sophia, which means holy wisdom, which is one of the titles of Jesus Christ. And when they were bringing a lot of changes, they had no idea one day Christianity will be almost wiped out from this part of the world, and Hagia Sophia will not be a worshipping place for Christians, but this will be something else. This is Sultan Ahmed Mosque, named after Sultan Ahmed the One. But commonly this mosque is known as Blue Mosque because of its interior blue color. But this is a beautiful, magnificent mosque, a masterpiece. but this stand literally opposite to the Hagia Sophia. I hope and pray all those churches which have been turned into mosques and those mosques which has been turned into churches will be given back to the original custodians and those people who really deserve to have the ownership of these. But also people are more open to respect and love each other, so the world become a better place.